When you saw an opportunity, you built a business around it. And every day since, you've kept a sharp eye on ways to evolve and keep your business thriving. It takes courage, creativity, and a clear perspective. At Bremer Bank, we understand that your business is the result of your hard work and ingenuity, and we're here to support you with solutions when you spot an opportunity to grow. Work with Bremer Bank, because understanding is everything.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Financially Fit Podcast. I am your host, Andre Creighton. I'm very excited to be here with you all today, and I think that we have a lot of things to talk about in respects to our economy. But first, I want to thank those that continue to listen to our shows, and hopefully, you're finding something fruitful in our conversation on your journey to becoming financially fit. For those that are new, as always, welcome. I always tell people that this is not the show that's going to make you rich overnight, but if we can be maniacal every single day towards our goals, we will be well on our way to becoming financially fit because this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And we have to treat and fuel our brains and with the knowledge to be able to continue to increase our fitness every single day. So, without further ado, so we've seen it's been a very interesting start to 2025. And what I'll say is anytime there's new administration, we always see, they come in with their own philosophies and policies. And sometimes it often shakes um, the economy, specifically when you have someone from a different party than the leader prior. We tend to see a lot of policy shifts. So that's exactly what we're seeing here in this administration. But with the tariffs that are being talked about on Canada and China and Mexico, we're seeing some really, really interesting shifts in our economy. And actually, just the other day, President Trump um, did not rule out that the U.S. could see a recession. Now, I will say that I'm not quite at a point yet where I feel that we are entering a recession. I think it is very possible that we are heading down that pathway if things continue, if price continues to skyrocket on necessities, right? We talk about rent, we talk about food, we talk about, a lot of the things that we need every single day to live, homes, right? If prices continue to skyrocket, there's really no incentive for the feds to continue to cut rates. So, especially with thinking about how we're seeing kind of I guess, the Department of Government Efficiency start to make more cuts across federal government and moving towards more private, I would say, in that way. I think there is a lot of potential opportunity for a recession, but I'm not yet at a point where I'm scared or worried about a recession. So, with that being said, we continue to see the S&P continue to fall. Actually, it hit its worst number since September of last year this week, and that's concerning. We're seeing a lot of people start to move their money, shift their funds to bonds. And this is pretty typical, right? When we see a lot of volatility in the marketplace, which we're seeing currently today, typically, a lot of people will move those to bonds, which are much more safer vehicle. However, they don't have the interest rate upside that like you would have, or the return upside, I should say, as you would see, if you were invested in the stock market. So while all of that's really concerning, I think I will tell you all to not panic yet. I think that some of these things will normalize over time. We'll start to see what the Trump administration really is going to do over the next few months. And I think over the next, probably somewhere in the summer, we will have a better idea of where we're heading from an economical standpoint. But signs do show that if we continue down this path, that we could be heading into a recession. But do not be alarmed quite yet. So let's jump into what can we do? What can we do in this moment, right? In the moment where a lot of people are feeling, they're worried about their jobs, whether they're going to have a job. They're worried about if they're going to be able to afford food, if they're going to be able to afford housing, if they're going to be able to afford gas, all of these things, right? And then you think about all of the things that Mexico, Canada, and China, the things that they make for us, right? The things that they import into the US, and how does that affect price to the consumer, right? Oftentimes, we hear President Trump talk about tariffs, and he says that we're going to tariff these countries and they're going to pay for it, right? Well, the reality is that when there's a tariff on an import, it increases price to the consumer. So we will see if these tariffs continue and we do continue down that pathway, we will see an increase in price on a lot of different goods. So what we can do today we should be very focused on any residual money that we do have. Let's save it away. Let's make sure that we increase our ability to have an emergency fund. We always say that you want about 4 to 6 months of expenses, necessary expenses, in a liquid account, whether that's just a general savings or whether that's a money market. You want to be able to have some money set aside. Um, I mentioned that I think by summer that we will know a little bit more about where we're heading from an economical standpoint. So this could be a good time that, if you're a little worried about the stocks, but you want to be able to have some liquidity in the next 3 to 6 months, you could be looking at a CD, right? A certificate of deposit, and maybe putting some money in there. While the interest rates and returns um, aren't very large, it's still a way to grow your money, and still have that liquidity, um, that will provide you more returns than a general savings account, right? Obviously, we're still seeing really good interest rates from a money market standpoint at various places. So if you aren't using a money market right now, is probably a good time to try to get into a money market. But right now, we're in save mode. We need to save as much money as possible. We need to make sure that we have uh, that we're managing our portfolio, so our investment portfolio. Maybe we're rebalancing that more often, and being very watchful of the market and the volatility of the marketplace, especially if you're retiring. Honestly, if you're retiring, if you planned on retiring this year and you haven't moved a lot of your money into bonds, I would be very concerned on if you are actually going to be able to realize that goal this year. So I always tell you all that there's three professionals that you really need to have. You need to have a financial advisor, you need to have a CPA, and you need to have an attorney. So the financial advisor is the one that you're going to go to that's going to be able to provide you with advice on the things that you need to do to make sure that your family is set up in a way that you have, that you're reaching the financial future that you want, right? So whether that's protective, having the various insurance mechanisms, whether that's life insurance, maybe a whole life policy, whether that's investing into ETFs or investing in stocks, or maybe you're doing some angel investing. Really having that diversification is the name of the game right now. So you want to be able to meet with your financial advisor. I would make sure that, maybe if you meet with them annually, maybe you're meeting with them semi annually now, just because of what we're seeing as far as volatility in the marketplace. It's tax time. We're about a month away from the individual tax deadline. We're actually a few days away from the tax deadline if you have an S corp or a partnership. So we want to make sure that you get those filed. Make sure that we're filing those things on time. If you are at a point where you're going to owe a lot of money to the government, right now is not the time to be avoidant. We want to make sure that we file those returns on time. And if you need to set up a payment plan, do so. I actually a couple of years ago, when I started doing some consulting work, I made a lot more money doing consulting than I had envisioned, and I actually had a larger tax bill than I had kind of planned for. So I uh, didn't avoid filing my tax return. I filed my tax return on time, but I did set myself up on a payment plan to be able to pay the IRS off. And I paid that off a lot quicker than what the payment plan had given me, but it gave me the flexibility because I knew I had quite a bit of cash flow coming from some of those clients in the near term. So right now is not the time to be avoidant. We want to make sure that we file those on time. The last thing that we want to do is be at a place where we're incurring interest and penalties because we did not file our tax returns on time. And then the last one is an attorney. You know, we're at a place where people sue for anything under the sun, right? So if you're running a business, whether it's independently or a partnership with some friends or peers or coworkers, whatever it may be, you want to make sure you have an attorney on hand to be able to help you with those matters. You also want to be able to make sure that if you're doing your own private business, that you have an attorney on hand to help you draft contracts. We find a lot of times that people try to draft their own contracts, and the reality is that we don't speak the language that these attorneys speak, right? They're able to see the gray areas and be able to work favorably for us to be able to provide the terms and things that we need. So we want to make sure that we have an attorney on hand because at the end of the day, those agreements and contracts that you have, the language is so important to your success. And honestly, it might save you money in the future if there is something that goes to litigation. So we are in some very unpredictable times right now, and it's very important for us um, to keep our eyes ahead, take it one day at a time, be thinking a little bit into the future and being planful, but let's enjoy the moment. Let's enjoy day by day because we're gonna have to take it day by day. What we're seeing is drastic change from this administration, and they're making executive orders almost on a daily, weekly, right? So we need to stay attuned to what's happening in the political landscape and what policies are being put out there. But like I said, this is a time for us to really lean in and be very thoughtful on our financial planning. So I hope that you all continue to give yourself grace, continue to think optimistically because we're going to be okay. What we do know is the U.S. economy is very resilient, and we've proven that for many, many years. So we're going to be fine. Don't panic, but let's be planful, right? Um, Mike Tyson always said, Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? Well, right now we're being punched in the mouth, and we need to have a plan. So, with that being said, um, it's not about how much money you make. The power is in how much money you keep. I am your host, Andre Creighton. I'm so thankful that I was able to be here with you all today, and I look forward to seeing you all and talking with you on various topics in our future podcasts. Thank you so much. Take care.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
What's this North 5 game?
It's a $1 Minnesota-only lotto game.
Wait, what?
Yeah, drawings are daily.
Wait, what?
It also features Easy Match. So for an extra $1, if your Easy Match numbers match any of your draw numbers, you can win instantly.
Wait, what?
Plus, you can still win the big jackpot by matching your North 5 number, so you can win now and win later.
Wait, what?
North 5 with Easy Match. Win now, win later, whenever.